Russia, 7 criminals entered a cramped cell holding only one man. 3 minutes later, the cell door opened. Guards rushed in, only to find 7 corpses, broken, disfigured, and him standing calmly, splattered in blood, smiling. He killed over 40 people, not ordinary civilians, but the Russian Mafia's most dangerous enforcers. His name, Alexander Solonik, a killer that the Russians themselves dubbed him the real John Wick. A cunning criminal, a contract killer, a master of weapons and combat. He escaped Russia's toughest prisons, leaving behind a trail of bodies and a legend that lives on. Before we begin, don't forget to like and subscribe. And now, let's dive into our story of the monster, Alexander Solonik. Moscow. During the collapse of the Soviet Union, crime became a state within a state. And amid the chaos of iron and fire, a ghost emerged, Alexander Solonik. A young man with ordinary looks, a quiet voice, dressed in a grey suit. He never raised his voice, never drew suspicion, but his eyes, they were the eyes of a professional killer. No one knew this unassuming man was one of the deadliest contract killers the Russian Mafia had ever seen. Alexander didn't start as a criminal, he started as a cop. He graduated from the police academy in 1987, excelling in marksmanship and hand-to-hand combat. But he had one flaw: he took orders only from himself. He bounced between precincts like a hot potato, each transfer sparked by excessive violence or clashes with superiors. Then in 1988, everything changed. He was fired after assaulting a senior officer during a raid, then vanished, but not without purpose. Months later, bodies of local gang members began surfacing. Each crime had the same eerie signature: a single bullet to the head at a perfect angle, fired from long range. Zero evidence, no witnesses, no fingerprints, just a corpse, a precise bullet, and a killer labeled unknown. The truth, it was Alexander. His first officially documented crime was in 1990, the assassination of Pyotr Kerizhin, a weapons trafficking kingpin in Moscow. Alexander shot him inside his armored car. The bullet breached the bulletproof glass and lodged in his forehead. That's when he got a name and reputation. And instead of killing him, the Mafia decided to use him. He became a contract killer, and every job he pulled off was such signature perfection. Police suspected elite squads, never one man. Alexander was a master of disguise, brilliant at mimicking accents, and able to pick any lock. He'd vanish into crowds like a shadow, carry out assassinations in broad daily light, then return home as if nothing had happened. Between 1990 and 1993, he reportedly executed over 40 hits, targeting businessmen, crime bosses, ex-KGB agents, even retired mobsters who refused to obey the Mafia, including Anatoly Dragunov, a Russian Mafia boss in St. Petersburg. Alexander shot him in a private party under heavy security. A single bullet through a ventilation shaft from a building across the street. Viktor Romanov, hiding in a fortified villa near the Black Sea. Alexander posed as an electrician, planted explosives under the bed, and slipped out 2 minutes before detonation. Police were completely baffled. Security agencies knew he worked for powerful clients, but found zero physical evidence. With each killing, his legend grew. What made him truly unpredictable? He didn't just kill for money. Sometimes he'd personally choose targets. Anyone he felt had crossed the line or betrayed a leader. He delivered punishment like a one-man tribunal, calm, silent, leaving no chance of survival. Eventually, he transformed from a weapon into everyone's nightmare. Some Russian mob bosses feared him more than the police. Simple reason: they couldn't predict him and couldn't stop him. So they did the unthinkable. Decided to trap and eliminate him at any cost. After years of hits, Alexander was no mere hitman. He became a terrifying legend. Every mob boss thought twice before ordering an assassination, knowing Alexander could be the executor or the next target. But his real danger wasn't just killing skill. It was his intel. How? Don't ask task nobody knew, but his complex network had infiltrated everyone. Alexander knew all the big players' secrets, their meeting spots, smuggling routes, the names of top mafia figures, their relationships, even their funding sources. Simply put, he'd worked for them all, executing jobs for everyone. This transformed him from a hired gun into an existential threat. In 1994, 5 senior Russian mafia bosses held a secret meeting in Nizhny Novgorod. Their goal was clear: eliminate Alexander. The plan was straightforward. Trick him into assassinating a Ukrainian businessman evading justice in Moscow for an astronomical fee. The truth, it was a trap. The Ukrainian didn't exist, and the hit location was swarming with 12 mafia gunmen. Alexander arrived, disguised as usual, scouted the area, but found no target. Suddenly, gunfire erupted from everywhere. A bloody firefight raged for over 10 minutes. The outcome was catastrophic for the mafia. 9 gang members dead, 3 critically wounded, and Alexander vanished. He'd left smoke bombs, leapt off the adjacent building, stolen a car, changed clothes, and cleared the entire district minutes before the police arrived. This wasn't some GTA scene, my friend. This actually happened, confirmed by all sources. That's when Alexander understood the truth. They no longer saw him as a tool, but a threat to be erased. And from there, he unleashed his own hell. Alexander began hunting everyone involved in the plot against him. First, Grigory Belov, a Moscow crime boss. Alexander blew up his car with explosives planted under the seat a full day earlier. Second, Sergei Dmitriev, shot point blank in a nightclub amid heavy security. Alexander exited unnoticed, as if he'd never even entered. Third, Arkady Vishnevsky, who vanished from his summer villa. Days later, his dismembered body was found in boxes, dumped on the city outskirts. Each killing was a message. Alexander wasn't just taking revenge, he was declaring war. While police started cooperating with some mafia bosses, trying to regain control of the city, Alexander had decided he answered to no one now. He was free, and he planned his escape from Russia. In 1995, he fled to Yerevan, Armenia. There, he built a small network of young criminals. He trained them in stealth, assassinations, intelligence gathering, and formed his own dedicated crew. Russian intelligence was starting to get really worried. The mafia had lost control, police were powerless, and the man they'd thought was just a hitman now commanded a network, loyalty, and a lifestyle of his own. That's when the state made its decision. Alexander became target number 1. By late 1995, Alexander Solonik's name had become a living nightmare. The press had started writing about him as the Invisible Man, and Russian security agencies blazed his photo atop their most wanted lists. But the strangest part, no agency could pinpoint his location. In Yerevan, Alexander was planning his final escape beyond the former Soviet Union. He wanted to reach Europe, maybe Germany or France, to start a new life with a forged identity, far from the mafia and intelligence agencies. But just as he thought he was gaining control, everything crumbled. In January 1997, his movements were spotted in a working-class Yerevan neighborhood, following an anonymous tip. That same day, a special Armenian intelligence unit stormed his apartment. He was arrested without a single shot fired. Alexander didn't resist. Those expecting a bloodbath found a calm man, smiling quietly as if he'd been waiting for this day. He was immediately extradited to Moscow and placed in Putyrka prison, one of Russia's oldest and most severe penitentiaries. In the first days, investigators tried to extract confessions. The crime formally linked to him exceeded 50 counts, including 43 murders, mafia figures, politicians, businessmen, even police officers, vehicle bombings, kidnappings, and field executions. Over 18 doing contract killings for the Mafia in the earlier years. But Alexander confessed to nothing. He always responded with the same line: "Those who didn't deserve life aren't here anymore." On August 2nd, 1997, days before his trial, Alexander was found dead in his cell. Official cause: strangulation using a wire from his own dry rack. The suspicious part: the cameras in his cell was disabled that day, and the assigned guards had been replaced hours earlier. No witnesses, no recording, no evidence pointing to the killer. Some say the Mafia paid massive bribes to have him eliminated inside the prison. Others believe he simply took his own life, knowing he'd never walk free. Yet in the shadowy corridors of Russia's underworld, whisper persists that Alexander never died, that he was smuggled out with a new identity in exchange for secrets that could topple top Mafia bosses. To this day, his end remains as mysterious as his life. Was Alexander Solonik a professional killer, or just an instrument of vengeance against a corrupt system? Did he truly die in that cell, or is the Russian John Wick still out there, watching from the shadows? In the world of crime, only one thing is certain: blood leaves traces. This was the story of Alexander Solonik. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Your support is what keeps me going. Catch you in the next one.